Hey, it's I'm trying to catch up. It's Friday, sitting on the front porch. Trailer Park Scholar. That's me. You know, mobile home dialogues. That's what this is. And this might be a little long. I don't know, because I got some stuff to work on. I downloaded an Alex Jones video. I'm going to do another video on it. Alex Jones is so fucking nuts. And then there's a real tragic thing that's happened this week. It's Hostess shut down, man. No more ding dongs. But we'll get to that in another video. But in this one, I wanted to look at some questions that old Ron Paul said Americans should all answer. You know, he said he has 32 questions, so we're going to go through the list. And he says this is a very clear. It's very clear upon examination of these questions that something is very wrong with our government. And here are the questions. Number one: why are sick people who use medical marijuana put in prison? Well, because it's fucked up. Because the government ain't got any goddamn sense, and because the right-wing religious nuts. And a lot of those people that would support Ron Paul, you know, I mean, the thing of it is, that's really kind of a stupid question, because a lot of religious people support Ron Paul, and even more support the right wing, and they're the reason that marijuana is still illegal. You know, they would, if they'd be happy to outlaw anything, you know, worse than a glass of tea that has any kind of drug in it. I'm surprised they don't want to outlaw coffee because it has caffeine. You know, but you know. Fuck that. So there's your answer to that question. The goddamn right-wing religious people, including a bunch of people that follow Ron Paul, don't want that to happen. Second question: why does the federal government restrict drinking law? Oh shit, the drinking of raw milk. Well, they restrict the drinking of raw milk because raw milk can make you sick. It will, if it's not fresh out of the cow and kept very cold. It will spoil in a hurry, and it will make you sick. So the government is just trying to keep people from being sick. That's why. You know, if they use awful tactics against people who sell raw milk, well, that's bad, and somebody should, you know, say something about that. But restricting the drinking of raw milk is a safety thing, you know. I mean, if you want to drink raw milk and get sick, you know, why don't you just set your milk out on the cabinet that you pick up at the store and wait the next day and have a swig of it and see what that does for you? Why are Americans not allowed to use gold and silver as legal tender as mandated by the Constitution? Well, you think there's enough gold and silver to run the paper money economy out there? You know, the Fed's a bad thing, but the idea of using metal coins is really kind of stupid. You know, we can't go back 100 years. Why is Germany concerned enough to consider repatriating their gold held by the Fed for her in New York? Is it that the trust in the U.S. and dollar supremacy is beginning to wane? Well, I guess so. I don't know why they want to do it. You know, they want their fucking money back. Whatever. You know, who gives a shit? Why do political leaders believe in us? It is unnecessary to thoroughly audit our gold? Well, you know, which political leaders is that besides old Ron Paul? You know, if a majority of political leaders, as in the Congress, wants to audit it, all they got to do is pass a fucking bill and audit it. So, if you're worried about that gold being there, you know, write your congressman. Why is the TSA, this is a good one, why is the TSA permitted to abuse the rights of any American traveling by air? Because people are fucking stupid sheep. Has Ron Paul stopped flying because of that? No. Does his aides take buses? No. You know, what about Alex Jones? When he travels long distances, does he take an airplane? Because people just won't stop going to the goddamn airport and make them stop it. Because people are sheep and stupid. That's the answer. Boycott the fucking airports and I can guarantee you they would stop. I wouldn't get on a goddamn plane to fly anywhere for nothing if I had to go through that TSA checkpoint. Ain't gonna happen. Why should there be mandatory sentences, even up to life, for crimes without victims, as our drug laws require? Well, yet again, it's the right wing, it's the nutcases, it's the people that think everything is evil that have supported those kind of laws. And if you want to change those kind of goddamn laws, get rid of your fucked up religious attitude. Why have we allowed the federal government to regulate commodes in our homes? Do they regulate commodes in our homes? I guess he's talking about water restrictions. Well, I don't see any problem with that. Mandating that companies don't make toilets that, you know, use 16 gallons of water forever flush, when the technology is there to make low flush toilets. And they won't do it unless, you know, somebody twists their arm. That's why, because businesses won't do the right thing unless somebody twists their fucking arm. Why is it political suicide for anyone to criticize AIPAC? What is AIPAC? What is AIPAC? I gotta look that up. AIPAC. I don't remember what that was. So we'll have to see what that was. We'll come back to that one. No, there we go. Google's up now. AIPAC. Oh, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. Oh, that's what that is. Yeah. Well, because the Israelis have too much influence in our country. And why do the Israelis have too much influence in our country? Because these stupid religious right people are hell-bent on supporting Israel at all costs, because they think Jesus is coming back, and he's going to come back there, and it's going to be a revival in Israel, and that can't happen if Israel gets fucked over. And oh man, we keep coming back to the same thing. No, isn't that amazing? All of you fucking idiots that supported Ron Paul, that are right-wing religious people, that's why. Why haven't we given up on the drug war, since it's an obvious failure and violates the people's rights? Well, I'll tell you why. Same reason. Because too many religious nuts are in Congress, and they're not going to repeal laws they think prevent sinful actions. You know, it's sin, and they want to regulate sin. Duh. Has nobody noticed that the authorities can't even keep drugs out of the prisons? What's new about that? Why do we sacrifice so much getting needlessly involved in border disputes and civil strife around the world and ignore the root cause of the most deadly border in the world, the one between Mexico and the U.S.? You know, I asked that question myself. Where's old Rick Perry's, you know, attitude when it comes to the goddamn war down in Mexico? I'll tell you why. Because these fucking people in this country are prejudiced. They're bigots, and they don't like Mexicans, and they think Mexicans aren't worth the fucking trouble. Because Mexico is nothing but a source of cheap labor. Because the drugs coming from there to here generate a shitload of money, legal and illegal. And, you know, mostly it's bigotry. That's why. Why does Congress willingly give up its prerogatives to the executive branch? What does that mean? Prerogatives. Why does Congress willingly give up its prerogatives to the, what, like to impeach the president or something? Oh, I get it. Phew, I'm a little slow this morning. Why does Congress willingly give up its prerogatives to the executive branch? In other words, why does it let the president do shit that the president's not supposed to do? Well, because they want it done. And if they pass the law to have those things done, you know, like perpetual war and all that stuff, then they would be blamed for it. So what they do is sit back on their ass and they let the president do this stuff with their blessing, and all of those defense contractors just pour money into everybody's campaign. Could it be that both parties are essentially the same? Well, of course they are. Why did the big banks, the large corporations and foreign banks and foreign central banks get bailed out in 2008 and the middle class lost their jobs and their homes? That's a hard one. Maybe because the corporations control the country and they don't want a middle class. They want a worker class. Why do so many in government and the federal... Why do so many in the government and the federal officials... That's a poorly worded sentence. And federal officials believe that that creating money out of thin air creates wealth. Well, it fucks up the economy and it gets rid of the middle class. And because they're stupid, you know, that's the kind of thing been going on off and on, you know, for centuries. Look at the American history. That's not anything new. Excuse me. Why can't people understand that war always destroys wealth and liberty? It depends on whose wealth and liberty you're talking about. War does not destroy the wealth and liberty of the rich class who perpetuate the wars and make a fortune off of the military. It only destroys the wealth and liberty of the people who are being destroyed and the people who oppose the war. Why is it there is so little concern for the executive order that gives the president authority to establish a kill list, including American citizens, of those targeted for assassination? Well, it's because people are sheep and they don't know what the fuck is going on. You know? The people don't know what the hell's going on and they don't really give a damn. Why is patriotism thought to be blind loyalty to the government and politicians who run it rather than loyalty to the principles of liberty and support for the people? Because that's what they've been taught. That's what they've been taught at home and at school. So don't go blaming the goddamn schools, because I was there in the 60s. Patriotism was God and country. Country being that flag representing the government in Washington. Duh. It's not the principles of liberty. I mean, look at every fucking patriotic country. The Chinese are very patriotic. The North Koreans are very patriotic. The word patriotism does not imply brain power. Patriotism is blind loyalty to the government. Duh. Real patriotism is a willingness to challenge the government when it's wrong. No, it's not. Real patriotism is not a willingness to challenge the government when it's wrong. Real patriotism is saying the government is always fucking right. Don't be stupid. Look the word up. Let's look the word up, patriotism. All right, let's look it up. Shit. Don't listen to me. Don't take my word for it. Nobody ever does anyway. Let's look it up. Yeah. What does patriotism mean? Dictionary.com. Patriotism. Patriotism. Did I get that right? Somebody got all over me, called me a bigot and things because I misspelled a fucking word. Isn't that silly? Patriotism. Come on, you stupid machine. I think somebody's hacking my machine. Man, I ran every kind of damn check I can. See, I'm in this little war with this company that don't like me, and it's a big-ass company. And, I think they're fucking with me. Alright. Patriotism. It's a noun. Patriotism. It means devoted love, support, and defense of one's country and national loyalty. You get it? So, no, real patriotism is not a willingness to challenge the government when it's wrong. You people ain't got no goddamn sense, if that's what you think it is. You may think American patriotism is different, because we're supposed to challenge our government. Wrong. You're wrong. Why is it? Man, these are some poorly worded sentences, and I copied them right straight from the thing. Why is it claimed that if people won't or can't take care of their own needs, that people in government can do it for them? Holy shit. So much for Christian fucking charity, right? Why is it claimed that if people won't or can't take care of their own needs, that people in government can do it for them? People in government aren't asked to do it for them. Alright, sure, I can't. I-C-A-N apostrophe T can't. I can't do a fucking thing. The only thing I rely on for the government is VA, medical care. I don't have Medicaid or Medicare. My kids have Medicaid, which is it, Medicaid, because they're foster adopt, and that's what they get. That's automatic. And it's a damn good thing, because we could not afford insurance. We couldn't. Why is it claimed that if people won't, or I could make a whole fucking video out of that, and I already have, actually. Because self-righteous dickhead motherfuckers who are lucky and talented and skilled and liars and aggressive self-righteous people push their way up through businesses and organizations, and they look down their fucking stinking nose at people who are fuck-ups, who can't make it, who are weaker than other people, who are inept, who are disabled. So what the hell would you rather do with those people? You tell me. Would you rather they just die? Why don't you just, do old Hitler's final solution and take all of us people who can't? That's what you're talking about, the goddamn government already. You people ain't got no fucking sense. You got it all upside down. On the one hand, you're talking about the government taking over and they got these kill lists and all this kind of shit and they want to get rid of us. And so fucking do you. Because you don't want people who can't work for a living to survive. Because you don't want to feed them, and you don't want the government to feed them, and you don't want to pay taxes so that they'll have something to eat. Let me tell you something, shit for brains. I was a caseworker for 3.5 years, and I can tell you right now, it's bigotry and prejudice and religion that keeps a lot of people from working. Because the goddamn religious people don't want kids to get contraceptive. They don't want to teach kids the proper way to do things, how to not get pregnant. So they have a goddamn epidemic of pregnant teenagers. What the fuck is an 18-year-old going to do when she has a 2-year-old kid? You tell me. She's going to goddamn welfare office. Why? Because she can't make a living if she works full-time at McDonald's. If she works full-time at McDonald's, who the fuck is going to take care of the kid? Because you won't put any money out for daycare. God damn it, this shit really pisses me off sometimes. Alright, let's move on. That's why. Because the government should take care of poor people. It's the right and the just thing to do. And because you won't. Alright, why did... Shit, we're not making it very good down there. Why did we ever give the government a safe haven for initiating violence against people? Because people are sheep. Because people don't pay any attention. Why do some members defend free markets but not civil liberties? I don't defend free markets. I think there ought to be limits on markets. I defend regulations that make markets fair. I don't defend free markets. So you got that? Because free markets, laissez-faire, is an ugly system. And it's one that punishes people who are not overly aggressive and who refuse to give up truth and honesty and fair play. Because in a free market system, the thug will always rise to the top. Always. Civil liberties? Well, that depends. I defend civil liberties. We ought to have a right to do, say, think, speak, or smoke any damn thing we want to. Anytime we want to. We should be able to do anything we want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. But you people over there, on that side, you religious nut-fucking cases, you don't want civil liberties. You want religious liberties. You want to tell me how to live because I don't believe in your God. You want to shove me over the fucking border when I was born in this country just like you and have every fucking right you do. Why do members defend civil liberty? Oh, that's the same fucking question. Why don't more defend both economic liberty and personal liberty? Well, I just answered that goddamn question. I don't support economic liberty. It's stupid. It's unfair. Alright. Why are there not more individuals who seek to intellectually influence others to bring about positive changes than those who seek power to force others to obey their commands? Alright. Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Because there's not anybody with any goddamn intelligent capacity out there. Shit. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? Intellectually influence others? Are you going to influence sheep with brainiac power? Fuck no, you're not. You want me to tell you who influences these sheep? Walmart. Yeah. Coca-Cola, Budweiser, the NFL. These people are the ones that know how to influence people. WPP. That, you know WPP? Those guys run all those ad campaigns that create them. They know how to influence people. Do they use intellectual arguments? Hell no. You can forget that fucking idea. Intellectual arguments ain't going to go anywhere. Shit. They don't have to force people to obey their commands. All they got to do is wangle some sexy thing or something that they really want. You know, some diversion in front of their goddamn nose. Give them enough money to pay for it. And they're there, man. That's a stupid question, Mr. Paul. Why does the use of religion to support a social gospel and preemptive wars, both of which require authoritarians to use violence or threats of violence, go unchallenged? Well, that's a goddamn good question. You know, I hear these people all the time. Alex Jones is a big Ron Paul fan. He's also a good Christian man. How does he justify that question? You tell me that. Turn your goddamn social gospel off, people. All of you people that, you know, Obama is the Satan himself and all that stuff. That's so fucking stupid. How fucking stupid can you get? Alright, aggression and forced redistribution of wealth has nothing to do with the teachings of the world's great religions. I guess that went with the last questions, right? I agree with that. Why do we allow the government and the Federal Reserve to disseminate false information dealing with both economic and foreign policy. Because nobody's paying any fucking attention. They don't understand it anyway. There's no cerebral activity in this goddamn country. And I'll tell you one other fucking thing that I hear all the time that drives me straight up the goddamn wall. I have a college degree, by the way, and when I started to college, I was a political science major, and I studied political science for a couple of years before I switched over to history. But even in studying history, I studied political history and war history and stuff. And I understand the workings of government and also the thinking of people. And what am I trying to say? I'm rambling. Yes, I am. My wife says I do that. Here's the deal. See, people say politics are corrupt. That's like saying preachers are religious. You know? It's like saying Jesus saves. None of those are true statements. Why are they not true statements? Because a lot of preachers are not religious. They're in it for the money. Because Jesus doesn't save everyone. Jesus only saves the people that comes to him in prayer. Jesus ain't going to save me because I'm not asking for it. Jesus saves people. You know, you're salivating at the mouth waiting for me to burn in hell. So don't go putting your fucking signs up that says Jesus saved, because he don't, because he won't save me. Will he? And politics is not corrupt. There are corrupt politicians in the political system. And why? Because people keep saying politics are corrupt. Duh. Hello? Boo! You got no fucking brains there? You demonize the whole system. And so nobody with any fucking sense can run. I'll run for Congress. Fuck, I'd make the best president you could ever have. You people ought to put me in the White House. I can guarantee you, we'd have one hell of a wonderful country. We would end the fucking wars. I'd do 75% of what Ron Paul wants. Yes, I would. Because 75% of what Ron Paul says I agree with. End the wars, end the oppression, end the police state, all that shit. Yeah. But also take that money we've been throwing away in the military and make sure that poor people have something to eat. And make sure that people that need rehabilitation to go to work can. And make sure that people that need jobs and can't find them have some way to find them and get some real help. You know? And people who are sick get to see a doctor. Shit. If we took the money that they're spending on military, politics... Why do we allow the government and the federal... Oh, we're back. We're past that, right? Where's that what I was talking about? Man, I lost my place. Wow, yeah, I know how I got off on that. Yeah, why do we allow the government and the Federal Reserve to disseminate false information dealing with both economic and foreign policy? Because we don't pay any goddamn attention. Americans don't pay any fucking attention to what's going on. They don't get it. They don't understand it. It's not taught in schools. It's not studied in college. And they're all sheep. Why is democracy held in such high esteem when it's the enemy of the minority and makes all rights relative to the dictates of the majority? You know, I wish you'd get on the right page, man. You're bouncing all over the goddamn place. Do you want free markets and full liberties, or do you want something less than a democracy? Because only a goddamn democracy is going to give you that kind of freedom. Because anything less than a democracy is a government that has more control over the people. Sometimes I wonder if there are any intelligent people over there on that side. Shit. Study some fucking government, people. Absolutely, a democracy is a tyranny of the majority. I do not want a democracy. And I don't even like the structure that we have now, because it ain't fair enough either. because it's been too easy for the nutcases and the greedy son of a bitches and the fucking corporations to take over. Why should anyone be surprised that Congress has no credibility, since there's such a disconnect between what politicians say and what they do? People shouldn't be surprised. Because of politics, man, you ought to really dig into what goes on in Washington. Money flows there like water. A congressman can have or do any goddamn thing he wants to do, either above board or behind closed doors. There are thousands of people sitting outside a congressman's office waiting to buy his vote on 1,000 different bills. Ask Ron Paul. Is there any explanation for all the deception, the unhappiness, the fear of the future, the loss of confidence in our leaders, the distrust, the anger, and the frustration? Well, of course there is. People are sheep. And we're all fucked. Because it doesn't matter what kind of politician you are. It doesn't matter if you're a good guy or a bad guy. Because if you have any fucking brains at all, you know that there's just this little small window of people that think and pay attention. And you don't have a prayer's chance in hell if you don't focus on them getting in office. Period. You know, unless you come from some goddamn little rural district where everybody knows everybody. And they put a good old boy in Congress, which is kind of like what happened to Ron Paul, you know. You take the money and run. Literally. The explanation for all this shit is that people have their head up their ass. Like good little sheep. That's the answer to those questions. So, what do you think?